dense because I didn't have much time to say a lot of information. Does anybody have questions? Gonzalo? Yeah, okay.
Cindy, regarding the hardware, how user friendly is it going to be? Are people who are not that tech savvy going to be able to use this hardware?
Yes. Basically, we're going to try to make it as easy as possible. We're going to, when you create your identity, when you first walk in, like there's going to be a wizard. So when you get a Microsoft computer, for an example, right now, they go through create a username and a password, and then maybe a Hotmail account or whatever it is they're using right now for an email. So we would go through a similar type wizard, and in the process of doing that wizard, we're going to create a PGP key for you, but it's going to step you through it, which is right now, if you wanted to create a PGP key on your own computer, you would have to download special software, and you would have to have everything installed, make sure you have all of the prerequisites for it, and then know what you're doing, right? And this is hopefully, if you already have a PGP key, you have the option of adding it. It's kind of a more advanced solution, but if you're a first-time user, don't know anything about it, it's going to do a step-by-step process, and it's going to create the PGP key for you. And then it's going to be stored on a little thumb drive type device, and then all you have to do is plug that into your computer, and that's your username and password. However, we haven't worked out a foolproof solution of what happens if you lose that. That is a bit of a problem that we're still thinking about, because we don't want, we think it's dangerous if we have your private keys. It's not a solution that we want, but we also know that there's human error and we can copy them, but what if you lose both copies, right? So we're trying to think of how to have a middle ground there.
Could you tell us a little bit about the ICO?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I forgot to mention that we are currently selling pre-sale gift certificates. So we're selling XCM is the name of our token, and we're selling it on Fork Delta. You can buy that, and then you can buy any of our products as a pre-sale. So it's not an investment token, very careful to say that. It's more like a gift certificate to buy any of our hardware. ForkDelta.com, I think. Fork Delta? No. Yes, you can go to tigoctm.com and purchase XCM there as well. Yes. Okay.
I was wondering if I have a computer, and because the software is open software, the operating system, open source, sorry, can I install that on my computer, you know, clean up hard drive and try to test and use the operating system to create a kind of user groups? I understand I will not get support from your company, but as a community, usually that happens when there is a version of commercial version of the product and a community version. Is that possible in your project?
Absolutely. It is all open source. You can do that. You can go to GitHub. You can download everything yourself. Then you're going to have to pre-compile everything. It will take over a week. There are people here who have gone through the experience, and they will tell you it's not easy. It is possible. It's not for a beginner. But yes, you can do it.
But I just also want to understand, I recognize the work that you do, configure something, and that's working and has support. That's a lot of value. Just wanted, I don't want it to mirror it because I understand the value of giving a final product that's already installed, everything is working, and there's a lot of people that just want to have that, a computer that works. This is just like a hobby, like, testing technology, and I already have the computer, so it's for me difficult to do the investment for a new computer just to test an operating system.
Well, we need people who are experts in actually doing operating systems. If you might have familiar of doing a partition in your computer and you have dual boot, that's totally fine if you want to do it. We encourage that as well, because then if you find other mistakes, you can also help us fix it. And so that's an important part of having an open source community, is that you have better software and in turn better hardware, better everything. We're not discouraging that. It's just not user friendly. And it's not for someone who's never really used encryption before, or maybe you have a PGP key. I have a PGP key. Even if you're able to do those things, it doesn't mean that you're able to download the entire OS. It's very difficult. But yes, you can do it.
Along those lines, I actually developed the OS, and I can tell you it's not that different from other types of Linux, but that's not really Tigo's product. That's just open source software that they put on top of their product. And you've gone to great lengths to make your product, the hardware, open source. And I was wondering if you could talk a bit more about what you've done with open source hardware, or why that's important.
Yes, so we are trying to source parts right now from IBM. They have an open source hardware called Open Power, and we're trying to utilize their Power 9 processors, which you should be able to. Their firmware is not completely open source at this moment, but the hardware itself is. And if you make special requests, they might be able to do that. But they are very open. They're trying to embrace the open source. I have not found similar things with their counterparts.
But why is it important? Why are you using open source pieces?
It's important in terms of transparency. We are in Panama glass, after all, right? In the spirit of transparency, everything that we're doing is to be transparent. So yes, you can look at our source code. You can look at the products that we're sourcing. You can improve on it. So if you sit here and you tell me, or IBM in this case, about their specific processor that they're having problems, and you make a suggestion in their blueprint that improves on it, then they can go and change it. It's important in the spirit of transparency. We're not hiding anything. This is hard, and we're going to tell you we're struggling with it, but we're not hiding that.
So could you speak a little bit more about the use cases? Because from the way I see it, like on Windows, you can do a BitLocker, you can have your encryption, you can have a smart card, same thing with like Linux or with OS X. So really, what's the use case here? Because you mentioned Outlook, so are people going to be able to use Outlook or something on Tigo, or what's really the use case here?
I'm going to go through a use case, but I didn't understand all of that question.
Well, I think you've been very focused on encryption, right? That you're encrypting every file, that every file is yours? No?
We're not encrypting every file. You are going to have the option of encrypting every file, but in Gold OS, there is a file system, and we're going to use that in a decentralized internet, and so you have a decentralized cloud, and that's very configurable, so I don't want to go into everything about it, but you can encrypt everything that you put there or nothing. That's up to you. And basically, it's so that if you go halfway across the world and you find another Tigo CTM computer, you can plug in your USB type drive that will decrypt it, and it will look like you're doing your own computer, but if everything's encrypted, only you get to see it, even though it's in a decentralized cloud. Another use case I can give you for an example, let's say a university wants to put all of their computers as Tigo CTM and they have a server, and somebody has a Tigo CTM computer that they're writing their paper on. And they get to the library and they're like, oh, I need to print it. All they need is their little drive to go to the library and print it out.
So basically thin clients.
I'm sorry?
So basically thin clients with...
Well, it could also be for the average person, because you're doing encryption, you can actually make it as a digital safe. So it's also another use case is if you have a lot of cryptocurrencies, you can actually use it as your own digital wallet with backups. I hope that answered your question, because there's a few ways you could go with it.